Hi guys, welcome to Station 2 of Matter and Its Interactions. We're talking about solids and liquids. So we're going to kind of do a little recap of what you should have learned from the YouTube video, and this is really going to help with that note catcher, so I'd have that out and be filling it out as I talk, okay? So let's remember that solids are compact. They don't change shape if they change their container. If heat is applied to a solid, it can become a liquid. Liquids conform to their containers, so they're going to change shape if their container changes shape. So if I pour my milk from a cup to a bowl, it's going to change that shape. Liquids can change to solids, though, if they're cooled. So if I have a glass of water and I stuck it in the freezer, it can turn into ice, right? So ice is a solid. When heat is applied to ice, it becomes a liquid. Water is the liquid form of ice. So when you have those ice cubes in your water to cool it down and it turns all to water eventually, we know that that ice is changing states. It's going from a solid to a liquid. So to turn water into ice, it has to be cooled. So we put it in the freezer. So today we're going to do a little experiment. I'm going to show you something. You can do it at home, but make sure you have permission from your parents, right? And that you might want a little bit of help just to make sure you don't make a mess, okay? So I have this cup of ice, right? You can see it. My ice is a solid. Oh, I got you stuck together. So my ice is a solid. It's not going to change shape just because it came out of the cup. It's in my hand. But if you can tell, my hand's warm, right? And it's starting to already turn to water. I've got some drips. I know it's kind of hard to see. Oh, there it goes, there it goes. So we are going to let this ice sit out for a really long time, right? It's sitting on the counter. We forgot about our cup of ice. So what eventually is going to happen to our ice from the heat applied to our ice, is it turned to this cup of water, see? And now it's a liquid. It's going to form a different shape to this container. So if I poured it into my bowl, it's not going to still be in the shape of this cup. Now, what if we wanted to do the opposite? So I have a bottle of water, and I've decided I'm going to put this bottle of water into the freezer. And eventually, my water that changes shape, you can see it moving around in there, right? It's moving around. So we put it in the freezer, and it becomes hard. It's compact. It's in this container and it's not changing shape. So if I were to cut open this container, this water bottle, my ice would be a solid chunk. It's not going to change shape just because I took it out of the bottle. The only time it's going to change is when it changes states from ice, a solid, which is this ice, to a liquid, which would be some water. Now, if you want to do this at home, you can do it with a cup. You might want to use a water bottle so you don't mess up the cup, but you can take either your cup of ice and set it out on the counter and watch it all melt and go from a solid to a liquid. You can do the same with your cup of water. You can stick it in the freezer. It's a liquid right now, but once you take it out of the freezer in a couple of hours, it's a solid. Alright, so just to recap, our solids are things that are not going to change in shape. They're compact. They have their own shape. It's solid. Now our liquids are going to be something that we applied heat to our solid maybe, and it's melted, such as water and ice. They turn into this from a state change. So it's a liquid. It's going to change with the shape of its container. It's not going to stay in one shape. So if I poured it into my hand, it's going to take the shape of my hand and eventually spill out because my hand's not solid enough to hold it. Alright guys.